Well, the people behind The Boys have done it again. Besides the absolutely terrible implementation of politics, the forced reliance on sex and poop jokes, and the absolute destruction of several characters, one of the main problems with The Boys Season 4 was the fact that, despite how random and improbable some of the plotlines in it are, we learn at the end that everything was actually part of the plan of Sister Sage, the smartest soup in the world. This includes all the stuff that very clearly wasn't part of the plan and nearly jeopardized everything that she and Homelander were working towards. You see, the people who write The Boys aren't actually very smart, they just get random shit to happen and then give Sage the credit. One of the main points is that by the end of the season the plan is pretty much in ruin, and then out of nowhere Newman, one of the strongest soups we've seen so far, gets one shot by Butcher and dies. This allows Sage to frame Singer for her death and allow Homelander to take over using the House Speaker. Except, of course, Sage would have absolutely no idea that Butcher's even infested with a Compound V infused tumour, never mind that he would join forces with it to kill all soups, curing himself of the slow death he was about to suffer and allowing him to kill Newman. So yes, all of this is just bollocks. And then we have Gen V Season 2, where once again all of the plot was part of her plan, except for the really obvious plot twist that anyone with about a dozen brain cells could have seen. So Marie is on the run before she gets saved by Annie, who warns her about Project Odessa and asks her to investigate it. Cypher, the main villain, starts to help Marie's powers grow and develop, and they also discover that he has an old burnt man living in his house. After being imprisoned and forced under pressure, Marie is eventually able to heal people and bring them back from the dead. The group escape prison and are discovered by Stan Edgar, who brings them to his compound. After hearing about the old man, he informs them that the burnt man could be Thomas Godolkin, a scientist who went missing after a fire accident and was working on research to control all soups. Marie then decides to find the burnt man and heal him. It's then revealed that yes, the burnt man is in fact Godolkin, and he has powers, which allows him to control individuals, including the man who is known as Cypher, with Godolkin now being fully healed and more powerful than ever. We later learn in the next episode that all of this was part of Sage's plan. She predicted all of the things that were happening in this season and worked alongside Godolkin to make sure they came true.
You were right about it all. Every domino falling just as you said.
So, just to clarify, Sage knew, in the following order, that Marie, who's a fugitive and therefore supposed to be off-grid, would then come across some random Homelander fans harassing people and she would beat the shit out of them, stupidly revealing where she is to literally everyone because people recorded it. Marie, who is shown to be able to stop people's hearts instantly, then decides to not do this when Dognot attacks her, meaning that she struggles for so long that Annie shows up to save her. Speaking of which, it turns out that for all the places in the US to be, Annie just so happens to be in the local area to save her. Annie then tells her about Project Odessa, files she learned by Sage planting them for her to find, and Annie now expects her to investigate the project that is located somewhere in the university. Marie and the group would then investigate Cypher and the university, discovering that there's a burnt man in Cypher's house. Sage also somehow predicted that Emma would take some drugs and get high, which would allow her to focus on one specific sound that would allow them to find a hidden room full of files. I'm not even joking, this is an actual plot point. These files would reveal that Marie is Odessa. Now knowing that she is part of some project and a powerful soup, when the group get imprisoned later and Marie pushes her powers to heal people from death, they then escape prison, with Cypher sending Vicor after them. However, Sage somehow knew that Stan and Zoe, two fugitives that are off the grid and have preparations to remain hidden from Homelander, would then somehow know where Marie and the group are and save them from Vicor. This means that when Stan takes them back to his compound, they tell him about the burnt man, and he can tell them about Godolkin and his research, compelling Marie to return to campus. Marie then finds Godolkin, and despite previously being able to detect that people have Compound V in their system when she heals them, Sage knew that Marie would be a complete fucking retard and not detect the V in Godolkin's system, fully healing him and allowing him and Sage to properly reunite. You see, when you break down everything that happens in this show and how coincidental it all is, even just teleporting people into the narrative to make sure it continues, it's very obvious that none of this is even remotely resembling a plan. But then we move on to the next plot twist, the plot twist that Sage is completely fucking retarded. You see, it's been noted several times times that Godolkin is a former Nazi, so even if he no longer has any racist tendencies, there's a good chance that he still believes in the idea of a supreme race of people. And combine that with the knowledge that he is Cypher, the dean of the university that constantly pushes his students to improve their powers and doesn't care when the weaker students get hurt or killed, then yeah, he very obviously has supremacist ideas. Yet Sage, the strategic genius that she is, somehow fails to understand that the supremacist would want to force supremacist ideals on society, forcing his students through tests so only the strong survive. Not only does this apparently go against their plans that they had together, but it also shocks and upsets Sage, to the point where she actively works against him and lets Polarity get away to stop him. In summary, Sage once again is responsible for every single plot point and plot twist, except for the very obvious one that anyone with a brain could have seen coming, at which point she becomes the stupidest soup in the world and fails miserably, and these writers need to be fired and replaced with people who can actually write. Thanks for watching, lads and lasses. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing and checking out some of my other videos. Sharing always helps, and if you're feeling really generous, please consider my Patreon or YouTube membership. But most of all, I just hope you had a great day, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.